inserting clip art, inserting graphics, moving graphics, resizing graphics, formatting graphics, creating and modifying diagrams, moving and resizing diagrams, formatting diagrams, annotating a chart, filling data series with pictures, changing the chart type, manipulating pie charts, selecting and saving a chart template, some exercises and their solutions, and a final summary. So why create and format content? Well, in Excel, using graphics and diagrams and charts is a great way of visualizing cold data in a more appealing way. And the range of graphic options available means that almost any data inside Excel can be improved upon. So let's get started. To insert an image into Excel, go to the Insert tab of the ribbon. Choose Online Pictures from the Illustration section, and the Insert Picture window opens. There are two options here, Office.com clipart and the Bing image search. The Office.com clipart contains illustrations and photos that are all royalty-free, so there are no issues over copyright or paying for the use of an image. The Bing image search, however, may contain copyrighted images, so care should be taken if using this option. To insert clip art, use the search window to the right-hand side and enter the search term needed. We'll use art for ours. And then press return. A range of different images appears in the window, and they're all based on the term art. So art will be somewhere within their hyperlink or within their tags. We'll just choose the first one. Once we've selected our image, select Insert, and the image will appear in Excel. Right now our image floats above our spreadsheet, but we want to put it into cell A1. We resize our cell and then resize our picture. The problem we may run into is the picture can be moved to anywhere within the spreadsheet. We'd like to lock it to within our cell. To do this, we right-click our picture, go down to Format Picture, and choose Size and Properties here. Select Move and Size with Cells. This way, whenever we change the size of the cell our picture is contained in, the picture will resize as well. The problem we may run into with this method is that it can change the aspect ratio of the picture. So while it's always best to resize a picture using the corner toggles, which maintains the aspect ratio, when resizing using the cell, we can make our picture too narrow or too wide. So care should always be taken. As well as clip art, there's a wide variety of different types of illustrations, diagrams, or pictures that can be inserted into Excel. We do this by going up to the Insert tab up on the ribbon and choosing one of the options held within the Illustration section. We can choose to add our own pictures from our computer by selecting Pictures, choose Online Pictures for clip art or a Bing image search. We can insert shapes, we can insert graphics and illustrations, or we can take a screenshot of any open window within our desktop. To use our own stored images, select Pictures in the Illustration section. Navigate to the folder where the picture is stored. Select the picture required and click Insert. Excel treats clip art, images, and many other similar types exactly the same way. So once they're inserted, they always float above the spreadsheet. So firstly, we need to resize our image. Remember, it's always best to resize from the corner toggles, as this maintains the aspect ratio of the picture and doesn't distort it in any way. Once we have the picture size we need to resize the cells around it. Generally, wherever the top left corner of an image or picture is, dictates to Excel where it's stored, in this case cell A1. But if we click cell A1 and select it, there's nothing held within the formula bar. To resize our image, when we resize our cells, again, we need to right-click our picture, go to Size and Properties or Format Picture, and choose Size and Properties. Go down to the Properties section and make sure the Move and Size with Cells radio button is checked. This way, whenever the cell is resized, the picture resizes with it. But again, be careful about the aspect ratio. One last thing. When we resized our image, the new image size became 7.21 centimeters by 7.21 centimeters. If we make our cell smaller, the picture resizes with the cell. However, if we make our cell larger, the picture will not resize, as this is the maximum size of the picture. Once we're happy with our picture and its position, just close off the side panel. To move an image or graphic in Excel, it just needs to be selected. Once an image is selected, two changes take place. The Picture Tools button appears above the Format tab in the ribbon, and 8 toggles will appear around the image. The cursor, as you'll notice, has the cardinal points held beneath the cursor arrow. Clicking and holding the left mouse button will allow the picture to be moved anywhere within the spreadsheet. Once we're happy with the position we need, simply let go of the left mouse button and the picture moves. One last word on moving images. Our current picture is in a prepared cell A1. By prepared, I mean we've already resized the cell and then made sure our picture fits within it. If we move our picture to cell B1, and the cell size for B1 is too narrow for our picture, because we have Move and Size with Cells formatted to this particular picture, if we attempt to resize cell B1 to contain the picture gets disproportionately larger. So it's always better to make sure that when moving an image from one cell to another, that the cell it's being moved to is prepared by resizing it for the picture it's about to receive. To resize an image or a graphic, it first has to be selected. There are a number of different ways of resizing the graphics. When the image is selected, as we've mentioned previously, the 8 toggles appear around the edges. We can choose any one of these toggles. Click and hold the left mouse button to resize the image as desired. Clicking on the sides or the top or bottom will give us an image that is disproportionate to its aspect ratio, so always be aware of this. To resize the image proportionally, always use the corner toggles, as this maintains the aspect ratio and makes the picture look more pleasing. If we know the size we need our image to be, we can always use the size options here inside the Picture Tools tab. For example, if we type in a new size and press return, because the image has an aspect ratio as defined by the format, changing one of these options will change the other, as the lock aspect ratio is ticked. If we turn this off and resize again, the height has changed, but the width remains the same. So it's always better to make sure that the lock aspect ratio is checked. We can also resize the image by changing the scale. We can find the scale by right-clicking on the image and going to Format Picture to open up the side pane and size and position. Again, lock aspect ratio is checked. Changing one will change them all. When it comes to formatting images and pictures in Excel, there's a wide variety to choose from. To start formatting, we select the image, go to Picture Tools above the Format tab in the ribbon, and our formatting tools appear. We'll start with Remove Background. Remove Background will keep certain areas of the image and remove the background areas that we choose. We can choose those areas by choosing Mark Areas to Keep or Mark Areas to Remove. Using either one will give us a pencil that allows us to draw the areas we wish to keep. Going to Mark Areas to Remove gives us the same pencil, but as you'll notice, this pencil's icon is a minus sign, whereas the Mark Areas to Keep is a plus sign. Once we're happy with our removal, we go to Keep Changes, and the background is removed. It does take some fine-tuning to get this right. Next we have the color corrections. This contains areas such as sharpen and soften, and brightness and contrast. Mousing over the different options gives us a live preview of how it will appear. Unfortunately, the window actually covers our image, so I'll choose the brightest one here, show you the changes, and then we'll see it revert to the original once I undo it. We can add extra color, or completely remove color, or desaturate the color. And there's further variations here. We can also add artistic effects. Choosing which artistic effect to use is really down to taste. We have further options here in the Adjust section of the tab. Compress pictures will make the size of the picture smaller in memory. This is particularly handy in regards to our picture. The original Mona Lisa picture we used was much larger than it currently is, so it takes up much more space in memory. If we choose Compress Pictures, the Compress Pictures window opens with a number of different options. We can choose to apply the compression to only one picture, or all the pictures within the spreadsheet, and if we've cropped any images, it will also delete the cropped areas. The target output depends on where our spreadsheet will end up. If we choose to print, we can change the points per inch settings, so it gives a much better quality on printers and screens. We can change to just screen settings, send through an email, or use the current document resolution. The next option, Change Picture, allows us to choose a new picture and apply it to replace the picture selected. Interestingly, when we do change a picture, whatever the current size and position of the last picture were will now apply to the new picture. Lastly, we can reset the picture from any formatting changes that we've already made here, and we can also reset the size. Within the Picture Styles section, we have a number of current styles that are already preloaded. And if we mouse over any of these, it will give us a live preview of how our new picture will look. Alternatively, we can always apply our own picture borders, picture effects, and picture layout. The picture layout applies more for graphics, and we'll come to that in the next section of this module. In the Arrange section, we have what's called the selection pane, which is very convenient when we have a number of different pictures within our spreadsheet. And if our spreadsheet is large, this makes it very easy to select the picture rather than having to navigate through the entire spreadsheet. If we select away from our picture, or deselect it, if we need to select it again, we just need to find it here within the selection pane. Click it, and our picture will become selected. We can also align our picture and rotate it. If we need to crop our picture, we select crop, and the crop window opens upon the picture. And we can crop from the corners or from the sides, top or bottom. We can even crop to a particular shape. And of course the size area, which you've already gone through. All of these options are also available if we right click our picture, go to Format Picture, and open up the side menu here on the right. Our fill and line, our effects, our size and position, and our color corrections and picture corrections. Excel contains a huge variety of different diagrams that can be inserted into a spreadsheet. To create a diagram, go to the Insert tab in the ribbon, and then go to the Insert a Smart Art Graphic button here in the Illustration section. When the window opens, there are three options: the type of graphic, its subtypes, and an example and explanation here on the right. Choosing which diagram to use really depends on the type of information you're trying to impart. For my example, I'd like to show a diagram containing pictures with the artist's name next to them. So I'm going to choose the Picture tab. Scroll through the subtypes to look for one that represents my data the best way. I'm going to choose the hexagon cluster. Clicking this option will open up the graphic on the right and an explanation of its use beneath. Clicking OK will insert the diagram into Excel. With our diagram created, we can now begin to modify it. The diagram has three sections: the shape where our picture will go, the shape where our text will go, and a text pane here on the left. To insert a picture, click on the picture icon within the shape, and the Insert Picture window opens. Again, we have the three options. We can insert a file from our computer, use the office.com clipart, or perform a Bing search. For our example, we're going to insert a picture stored on the computer. Navigate to the picture, select it, and then click Insert. The picture is inserted into the shape, and the text pane here on the left is also updated. We can use these picture icons and these text boxes to create our text, but it's much easier to use the diagram to make our changes. We now need to add the name of the artist. As we type, the text is automatically resized to remain within the shape. So it's important to remember that this works best with small amounts of text rather than a large paragraph. We'll go ahead and add the other pictures. And there's our diagram created and modified. Moving and resizing diagrams follows exactly the same rules as images and graphics. So first we need to select our diagram, and a bounding box appears around it. We also have the Smart Art Tools button that appears above the Design and Format tabs. To move the diagram, move the cursor directly above the bounding box until the cardinal points compass appears beneath the arrow. Click and hold the left mouse button and move the mouse to place the diagram wherever you wish. You'll notice the text pane disappears until we move it into a better position, and the text pane reappears here. All diagrams have a locked aspect ratio, so clicking on the corners as recommended will keep the aspect ratio and allow you to resize the diagram, but the same thing also happens if we click the top or sides. The aspect ratio remains the same. The only difference to this is the left bounding box button has an arrow in it instead of the squares on the others. This arrow is to hide the text pane. Clicking it again will make it reappear. Again, all these options are also available if we right-click on our diagram and go to the Format Object in the contextual menu. Our side pane opens and allows us all the same options that we had with images and graphics. While our diagram looks pretty good, there are other options we can choose from to make it look even better. To format a diagram, select the diagram and the Smart Art Tools button appears above the Design and Format tabs. Clicking on the Smart Art Tools will open up further formatting options. The first one we can choose from is changing the actual layout of the diagram. If we mouse over any of the options here, it will give us a live preview of how our new diagram will appear. And there's further options if we use the drop-down menu. We'll stick with our original. We can also change the colours, and also change the Smart Art styles. Again, mousing over will give us different options in the live preview. We can choose to add another shape so that we can add more text and more pictures. Or we can go to the Format section in the Smart Art Tools to give us more options with our text. We can also change the shape fill, the shape outline, and the shape effects as well. Clicking any of these options, for example in the Word Art Styles, will change all the text options that appear within the diagram. And again, we have the same size options we had before. All of these options are also available if we right-click on our diagram, go to the Format Object, and in the side pane we have our fill and line, our effects, and again our size and properties. While we can make sweeping changes to our diagram, each one of the formatting options can be applied to individual aspects within it. So clicking on a shape with the picture, or clicking on the shape with the text, or even selecting the text allows us to use further formatting options. Whichever diagram is used, or however it's formatted, is always down to personal choice. Adding annotations to a chart in Excel can help clear up any ambiguity if the data is complicated or hard to read. To annotate a chart in Excel, we first need a chart. We've already covered creating a chart in Excel in Module 8, but we'll go over it one more time. To create a chart, we're using this spreadsheet, which contains a list of great works of art, their artist, their current location, their type, and their value or purchase price. It should be mentioned that the value or purchase price has been made up to give a greater range within the data series. We now need to select the data we wish to plug into our chart. So we'll go with the title column and the value and purchase price. Once the data is selected, go to the Insert tab on the ribbon and choose Recommended Charts. 3 types are recommended for us, but we'll use the second one, which is the clustered column. Click OK, and our chart is inserted into Excel. I'm going to go ahead and make some slight changes to the chart so that we can see our annotation a little more clearly. I'm going to make the chart slightly larger and then change the chart style. And then I'll remove the grid lines and then add our annotation. To place the annotation inside the chart, make sure the chart is selected. Go to the Insert tab on the ribbon and then click on the text box here on the right. Then draw the text box within our chart. The text box is created and the cursor blinks to let us know that we can start typing whatever notes that we need within this text box. I've already gone ahead to save time and copied some notes to the clipboard, so I'll just paste them in. I'll just change the color to white so we can see it more clearly. And there's our annotation. We've already seen in Excel that there are a great variety of formatting and style options available to charts. We can go even further with this and actually add picture to the data series. Given the nature of the chart and its subject matter, it seems ideal to add pictures to each one of these data series. To do this, select the data series and you'll notice that toggles appear on the corner of each one of the data series. Right-click on the data series, go to Format Data Series in the contextual menu, and the side pane opens. Select Fill and Line, and right now we can see that our fill is automatic. It's automatic based on the style we chose for the given chart. We can change this by going to Picture or Texture Fill. As you can see, the data series fills up with pictures of the Mona Lisa. The reason for this is because this was the last picture selected in the demonstration. But we can change each one of these by clicking on the data series so that only this data series is highlighted with the toggles. Go down to File, find the thinker which matches this data series and click Insert. And we can do this for each one of the data series. And now our entire data series is filled with pictures. We can always adjust these data series so that the aspect ratio looks slightly better. But as the pictures are of different sizes and different dimensions, we're never going to get this absolutely right. But it's a good way of showing how pictures can be used within a data series. With our data series, we can see that our current options for adding pictures to the series is Stretch. We can always change this to Stack instead. And this will give us multiple pictures, one on top of the other. And we can do this with each one. As you'll notice, this also helps with the aspect ratio. As Guernica and the Kiss are too small to see, we'll leave these two as they are. Sometimes it may be better to use a different type of chart. This is where changing the chart type comes into play. To change the chart type, we have two options. We can select the chart, go to Chart Tools, and go to Change Chart Type, or right-click within the chart and choose Change Chart Type there. Either one will open up the Change Chart Type window. We wish to change our chart type to a pie chart. We select the pie chart from the type and select it from the visual representation beneath. Click OK, and the chart type changes. You'll also notice that the annotation that we already added has been kept within the chart type. We'll just make the chart a little smaller. The other thing you notice is that when we added pictures to the data series, they've also been included within the pie chart. Changing the chart type really depends on the type of data you're adding in. Too many data ranges can make using a pie chart too complicated, but in our particular example, each wedge of the pie chart is representative of the value of the painting, and we can also see the painting by the fact that the picture has been added to the data series. Not all data ranges lend themselves to the pie chart style. For further information on changing the chart type, please see Module 8 and the accompanying documentation. I've gone ahead and made some changes to our pie chart so we can see things a little more clearly. One of the main problems with using pie chart data is that some data ranges are just too small to see. Thankfully, we have a key here on the right hand side that's color coordinated to the pie chart. But imagine if we wanted a better representation of the smallest slices of the pie. What we can do is change the chart type and select a different pie chart option. So we have a 3D pie chart or a pie of pie, which is the most convenient option. If we click this, the pie of pie takes 3 of the smallest data ranges within the pie chart and makes them larger to see. And we can format this too. If we right click and go to Format Data Series, we can make some changes to make things even clearer. This split series can be changed by selecting one of the different options here. So for example, percentage value will represent a different slice of the pie. And we can change what percentage value that this pie represents by using the up and down slider here. We can also explode the pie and make it a little easier to see each segment. This is very useful when we have a large data range or many slices. We can also change the gap width between the two pie. And we can also change the plot size of the second pie. It's best to leave it smaller. Other ways in which we can manipulate the pie chart is by selecting the chart and going to Chart Tools and changing the chart style up here. We can also change the colors as well. Again, mousing over any one of these gives a different representation of how our pie chart may look based upon the one selected. A basic rule of thumb, if using a pie chart, is to make sure that the data ranges aren't too numerous and that there isn't a great disparity between them. For example, if I change one of the values in the value purchase data range, watch what happens to the pie chart. The pie chart automatically updates, but it makes it very hard to see more of the segments. This pie of pie here on the right now represents this entire slice here, which is only around 8% of the pie chart. So the disparity is too great for it to be useful. So always bear in mind how numerous your data is and the disparity between the ranges. I've gone to the trouble of creating a new chart. This time, I've incorporated my own styles and formats. For example, I used a basic 3D chart, changed the color of the chart area, changed the color of the back wall, added 3D data series with pictures, stacked the pictures, and made sure that both axes were readable. Let's imagine I wish to use this type of chart again. What I can do is save this chart type as a template to use elsewhere. To do this, right-click in the chart and go to Save as Template. The Save Chart Template window opens and we just need to give it a name. I'll call it My Chart. Once we're happy with the name, click Save. From now on, whenever I wish to use my chart type, all I need to do is call it up. So if for example I change my chart type to one of the other chart styles, and I'm not happy with the result, I can right click, go to Change Chart Type in the contextual menu, or Change Chart Type in the ribbon. Go to Templates, and all saved chart templates will be stored here, under the Templates option. Select the template you wish to use, and click OK. And the chart reverts to the chosen style. Our chart template can be used elsewhere too. If we delete our chart, and create a new one, we can create a chart using the normal methods. Choose our template, and Excel will endeavour to create the chart based on the current chart type template that was saved. As you can see, some adjustments may be needed. For the first exercise, insert a piece of clip art into cell A1 based on the search term bicycle. To insert the clip art, go to the Insert tab in the ribbon, go to Online Pictures, type in bicycle, and either press return or click the search button. Any one of the images will be fine. We'll choose the first one, click Insert, and the file downloads. For the next exercise, choose a graphic stored in the exercise folder and add it to cell A1 in Excel. To insert a graphic held on the computer, go to the Insert tab in the ribbon, go to Pictures, and in the Module 14 exercise folders, you'll find a folder called Art Images. Select any one of these images and insert it into Excel. For the next exercise, insert an art image into cell A1, resize the image and resize the cell. Also, add a blue 3-point border to the image. So to insert the image into Excel and resize it, we first need to resize cell A1 to the chosen dimensions. Next we go to the Insert tab, choose Pictures, select a picture and click Insert. Next, we resize the image. Always remember to use the corners to maintain the aspect ratio. And lastly, go to the picture tools, picture border, choose a blue border, and change the weight to 3 points. For the next exercise, create a diagram using 3 images from the art folder. Resize the diagram so it's slightly larger, and finally, change the color scheme. Okay, so to create a diagram, we go to the Insert tab on the ribbon, click on Insert a Smart Art Graphic button, and choose a diagram that's appropriate to the exercise, in this case, pictures. Select one of the diagrams available and click OK. Next, add 3 pictures from the art folder. These can be any 3. And if you wish, feel free to add text. Next, resize the diagram so it's larger. And finally, change the color scheme. For the last exercise, use the Art Spreadsheet exercise file stored in the Module 14 folder. Create a clustered column chart and change the chart type to a pie chart. Add an annotation to the pie chart that says, "This is an annotation." And finally, modify the data series to include a pie of pie chart. So first we need to create the chart, so we can use the title and the value as our data range. Go to Insert, go to Recommended Charts, and go to Clustered Column, and click OK. Next, we need to convert our chart into a pie chart. And add an annotation. We do this by going to the Insert tab, insert into text box. Draw our text box, type in, "This is an annotation," click away to deselect, and finally, change the chart type to be a pie of pie. So in summary, with the huge variety of content available, almost any data can be presented more visually. Incorporating graphics and content in a spreadsheet can be a great help in making complex data more digestible. Finally, using formatting and content adds extra colour and flavour to otherwise cold information.